Hey friends, how's it going? It's a different day, right? But I'm here and you're here, so let's have some fellowship.
Good morning, family. It's time to hit the streets. I've got good news today. It's time to be the change. It's time to stand up, get up, 'cause it's time to get up.
It is an entirely different season we're walking in right now, isn't it? And it just seems kind of strange. Like we're in our production company Spot here that produces our show, and it's just eerily quiet. Feels very vacant with nobody here, like there's some sort of void. But we know there's really not a void because God is present, mightily present. I think of his words to the prophet in Isaiah chapter 46, verses 8 and 9, when he's talking about the difference between false idols and himself. And he says, remember this and stand firm. Recall it to mind. Remember the former things of old. I am God and there is none other. I am God and there is none other but me. When this time, this day and age, when things are falling by the wayside and other false anchors are proving themselves false, God is steadfast and true, and he's got us, and he's on his throne, and he's gonna carry us through this thing. You know, there's an organization here in town that's delivering hope to folks a long way away from here. It's called 10 by 3, and they're doing it through baskets.
10 by 3 is an organization that reduces poverty around the world through a model that we pioneered. And it means that when an artisan who works with us makes 10 products a month that we buy at prosperity wages, which is far beyond fair trade, it gives them the working capital they need to start 3 businesses, and it's those 3 businesses that will catapult them out of poverty. And it's during this 3-year period of time, 36 months, we know that when we're continually providing income to that family, the person is immediately taking care of their children, their elders, and once they're in our program, they then have to agree that within that 3 years' time, they're going to start those 3 businesses because we know that is their pathway of permanent financial freedom. For the first time in their life, can instead of looking to the left and looking to the right, they can actually look ahead and do something that most of us in the United States take for granted. For the first time in their life, they can dream. We carry artisan products. They are primarily baskets. We're in over 250 retail locations throughout the United States and Canada, as well as Disney. Our program is not a handout. It is not for everyone. If you do not want to change your station in life, we are not the program for you. You met Adam Bila today. She is strong, she is tough, she is fierce.
She and her women are now better off doing well with our children in school and everything they are providing to the Blessed Basket Project on the 10 by 3. She is able to now build a concrete house, a whole concrete house for the whole family.
Yet others before me taught her that if she would present herself as poor and pathetic, we would give more money. Adam Bila possessed every skill she needed to better her life. She just needed access to an economy, and that's all we did. With a 10 by 3 product, through a special code that's on the back of that particular item that is exclusive to that particular item, you can use it to go to our website, put it in, learn all there is to know about your artisan. You can write them a letter, and through a series of translators on the ground, they will write you back. Today, we have had thousands of letters exchange hands between the most unlikely people on the planet. When a woman receives a letter, it changes how they view themselves from the inside out, and they physically walk differently. I was raised below the poverty line in the United States. I know what it's like to be on food stamps. When I came onto this planet, my mom was in prison, and I was taken, she was taken out of prison. She gave birth to me. And so from the minute I came onto this planet, people have been helping me. It's those human touches on my life that launched what today is known as 10 by 3. There's no way I can repay these people for what they did. There's no way. But what I can do is I can pay it forward. I believe that human connection creates peace. And if we come together more as humans, we're going to create a more peaceful world.
Oh, you gotta love Teresa's heart and her passion. And look what this organization's been able to accomplish. They're in 8 countries now, and they've had more than 8,000 graduates since 2003, starting tens of thousands of businesses, transforming lives and families and communities forever. So cool. Hey, you know, there's another organization in town that's using baskets. It's Basket of Hope, and they're delivering hope to families with a child in a medical crisis.
Basket of Hope is a way to let families of seriously ill children know that they are loved and cared for by our Lord and by our community. We go in and we visit children who are diagnosed with something serious. It might be a car accident or it could be cancer. And we let them know that we have a basket of hope for them. And it's all age appropriate, toys and games and crafts and all kinds of fun things for them while they're in the hospital, and then things to take home for their siblings. As a parent, I know how important it is to encourage the moms and the dads. And so we want to give them a hope tote. And it's just stuff for them, like a Bible and a journal and inspirational books and jewelry. We just try to surround them with this hope tote to let them know that God loves them and that we love them and we'll be praying for them. So it's just a family gift. The way we get our items is really a miracle every year. But we have so many wonderful sponsors that help us. Polarity, out of the blue, in December, gave us over $100,000 worth of books for the kids.
What they do, not only here in the St. Louis community, but nationwide, I think it's important that we all give back just a little bit, just to make a difference in a child's life.
J. Bloom's given us over $250,000 worth of necklaces for the moms over the years.
They look at their necklace and they remember the hope that they needed during their situation, and many times it's now just a reminder of where they need to go in the future because they had that hope and that strength to get through what they were going through, and now they're able to just have it as a reminder.
So we rely on individuals to donate $100 and sponsor a Basket of Hope, all the way up to corporate sponsors. The program started actually 25 years ago when our oldest daughter, Christina, she was only 6 years old, and we were told that she had cancer. She had a tumor on her spine, and it didn't look good. They said the chances of her surviving for even a year is just maybe less than 50%. He totally gave us a vision of hope at the beginning when we didn't know that we could keep going. He just filled my heart with his love and showed me how much he loved Christina. And thankfully, she did survive, and we just give glory to God for that. She had a really rough time, but she made it through it. When we got done with treatment, the doctors and nurses asked us, can you just come in and visit newly diagnosed kids with cancer and their parents and just encourage them with the hope that you had? We always had a Bible with us and a journal. And so that's how it started. God has been so good about encouraging us to keep encouraging them, and just being able to share that with other families and let them know that God loves them. You have every opportunity just to give your child to Him in His hands, and He will take care of them no matter what. And that's what's going to get you up and going every day, and know that there's always hope.
When anyone's in their darkest times, all they need is someone to reach out their hand and say, hey, I see you, I'm here for you, I love you, and I'm praying for you.
Going to the hospital for the first time, it brought me to tears, and from then on, I wanted to just be a part of what they're doing here because it's incredible.
I'm amazed how this program has grown. You know, it started here in St. Louis, and now we've been featured charity in the Super Bowl city every year, with baskets going out from California to New York to Florida, all across the U.S.
What has that Super Bowl experience been like?
We delivered to 4 different hospitals down there, and we even had the local police working with the NFL delivering the baskets, and they said it's the most unifying thing that they'd ever accomplished together.
You know that your time, your treasure that you're able to provide to the organization, you can see where it's going, and you can see the benefit that it brings. And
it's just smiles and hugs and just hearing the story and knowing that there's someone there who's been thinking about them and wanting to give them a basket of hope. It's just amazing.
What makes me happy is knowing that this is going to continue, thanks to my kids and and their connections and all the volunteers and all the people and all the sponsors. It's going to continue on not only in St. Louis, but across the nation.
They're now delivering thousands of baskets every year across the country. And it's not just about the basket. It's the fact that these people now know that somebody cared enough about them to give them the basket. And look how much stronger Basket of Hope is made by all the volunteers that come on board to help out. All these folks that say they just want to lend a hand and make it better. We're so much stronger when we come together. Hey, keep it right here. We got more coming up right here on The Thread.
Our first mission is bring glory to God. That's why we're here. We have a talent. It just happens to be banking.
So M1 Bank is banking on a mission fueled by the power of purpose.
It gets a point in your life where you got to live it every day, not just believe it.
I'm believing that this is going to catch on and we're all going to thread up.
For us in our house, this is how we're going to serve the Lord and His purpose. And we're going to do it through the financial institution that happens to be called M1 Bank.
Hey friends, let's be honest. Nobody knows what the future holds, but we all know what we want our future to look like. Lower taxes, guaranteed income, financial stability. Sound pretty good? Now, all you have to do is call an attorney, an insurance agent, a money manager, and a tax advisor. Or you can call the one place that has it all under one roof. Our friends at Circle of Advisors secure us. In 20 years, not a single client has lost even a dime to market volatility. They've helped walk with the thread since day one to help secure our future, and they'll do the same for you too.
No, you can't flush those.
Why not?
There's no such thing as a flushable wipe. They can clog up your pipes and cause wastewater to back up into your basement or overflow into creeks and streams. Let me show you. Give these a shake. See how the toilet paper dissolves, but the wipe just sits there? Remember, the only flushable wipe is toilet paper.
Hey, Threadheads, you no doubt know Don Brown.
Don Brown Chevrolet? Don Brown Chevrolet. Don Brown Chevrolet.
And you probably know that Don has a flair for fashion and a knack for cars, but he also has a heart for people.
I learned from my father a long time ago, it's not about one person, it's about the entire community. It is a car business, but it's a people business. It's about the people. It's not about the products, it's about the people.
If you're in the market for a car, come to Don Brown, where it's people over process.
And we're proud to be part of the Thread family, and we'd love to be part of your family.
Welcome back to The Thread. We're at Spot Studio, where we produce the show, and photographer Cecil and I a safe distance apart. Very empty in here, but we've been talking about that theme of remembering, especially in days like today. Remembering that God is on His throne and that He's in control and He's got us in and through it. And I'm reminded of Isaiah chapter 64, verses 4 and 5, where the prophet is talking to God, and he says, "There's no eye has seen a God besides you, who acts for those who wait for Him. You meet Him who joyfully works righteousness, those who remember you in your ways." Remember you in your ways. I love how it says that, because one of the best ways we show that we remember God is by acting the way He acts, doing the things that He does, loving others with the same loving kindness that He has shown us. You know, there's an organization here in town that's using memory to serve others. It's the Cardinals Reminiscence League, and they work with people with early onset Alzheimer or memory loss, and it's using this to bolster their memories, their love of the Cardinals and their love of baseball, to help serve as a memory jog for them, but also a means of fellowship.
St. Louis and the St. Louis area is a baseball town, and everybody loves the Cardinals.
What we try to do is to bring up memories.
People that have an interest in the Cardinals, especially a long-time interest, and it tends to be men and women. That's the fun part about it.
It really brings up memories, and people share their stories, and they get to know each other and share who they are.
They come and they talk about their lives and what they remember about the ball games that they went to.
We've been doing it 5 years, been very successful. They meet once a year during baseball season, and they reminisce about the Cardinals. They talk about from the St. Louis Browns all the way to current baseball. They take a seventh inning stretch, sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." So we have refreshments, and the music is something in the brain that stays with us. So the music that we do, we'll sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." We start with the national anthem, and they all know those words. That doesn't leave us.
My wife and I have a geriatric care management business.
I'm a huge baseball fan. I'm a nurse, care manager by trade. And so this is a way for me to pull those things together.
It just seemed like a natural when they approached us.
One of my favorite things is to see folks light up when they're telling their story.
I played one game at Busch Stadium.
The look on their faces when they're telling their story and the brightness in their eyes that you may not see, but when they're telling their story, they come alive.
I had a pretty good arm. I could throw the ball. I could put the ball 6 inches off the ground, just on the first base side of second base. If somebody get over there and catch it, they could tag the guy out that was trying to run it. You know what I mean?
It gets me out of myself. I think that's when you say about service, that's always the best part, is I can be having a rough day. Like, I'm suffering from sciatica right now. I'm not even worried about it because I'm enjoying more of the stuff here.
We have families that tell us their mood is better, they sleep better, they eat better, the quality of life is better.
Sometimes particularly as we get older sometimes and we have memory loss, we lose some of our friendships, we lose the people we love. And so it's a way that they can connect on something that is meaningful to them. And that's really what connection is about.
What a great fellowship and a great idea, right? Using their love of the Cardinals to not only improve their memory, but bring back these fond memories that they can use as fellowship with one another. And you heard the co-leader say it. When they share their stories, their faces just light up. You know, our faces should light up when we think about God's faithfulness to us in the past. Do we do that? How's our memory check? If we have a trouble in that area, we're not alone. Look at the Israelites. They were suffering in Egypt, and God brought them out of Egypt and got them to the Red Sea. Then they saw the Egyptians pursuing. They're like, oh, you just brought us out here to die. Then God parted the Red Sea, and they went across. Then they got in the wilderness, and they got hungry, and they said, oh, at least in Egypt we had food. Now we're just going to die out here of hunger. And God delivered manna from heaven for them to eat. Then they got thirsty, and through Moses, God delivered water from a rock. And time again, he sent judges and prophets to remind them of who he was and his faithfulness and his great love of them. Here's what I want you to do. Remember a trial from your past that God carried you through. Remember God's faithfulness in that time, because that faithfulness then is proof of his faithfulness now and proof of his faithfulness going forward in the future. God's got you. He's got us, and he's going to carry us through this thing. Hey, keep it right here. We've got more coming your way. Thanks for joining us this morning. Are you picking up on a theme here? We're like bringing joy, creating community, transforming lives. That's what this show is all about. We are so much stronger when we come together than we ever are when we separate and divide. We want to continue this mission. We want to help this city thread up and be the most it can be. So, you want to be a part of the team? You want to help us on that mission? Go to thethreadstl.com and learn how you can be a thread head and help us thread up, y'all. This week's USA Mortgage Changemaker.
The mission of the Greater St. Louis Honor Flight is to recognize our veterans. And they do a one-day, all-expense-paid trip to Washington, D.C. for these veterans to be able to see their war memorials. The firefighters come out and there's a water cannon salute. There were thousands of people at the airport when we arrived home. And people were lining the hallways with flags and shaking hands and saying thank you. The most unbelievable experience that I've ever had. USA Mortgage hosts a charity golf tournament every year. We welcomed the Greater St. Louis Honor Flight to our tournament. There were standing ovations and tears and handshaking and hugs. So at the end of the tournament, we presented a check for $30,000. USA Mortgage just paid for an entire flight of veterans to go to Washington, D.C. to see their war memorials.
Find your unique way to be a change maker. Welcome back to The Thread. We're inside a very empty spot studio where we produce the show. Just myself and photographer Cecil in here right now. Very empty, but we're remembering God's presence, and we're remembering his presence in and through this current situation we're walking in, and that he's got us in and through it. You know, there's an organization here in town that is honoring veterans by remembering them through quilts.
We're Quilts of Valor, Eastern Missouri, and it is a group
that quilts for men and women that have been touched by war.
It is an appreciation for our American veterans. I was in Vietnam. I worked there as a community development with a community development team. And we were around military all the while I was there for the 2 years. I've seen what they went through. And when Gene says, "Do you think we can do this?" I says, "We're going to do it, Gene."
So we thought we could do one quilt or two, and we've been going ever since.
Well, my friends talked me into coming, and then after that, it's like I said, you see the presentations and how appreciative the veterans are, and it just hooks you.
We have basically between 80 and 100 ladies come each time we quilt. These quilt tops are donated. Yeah, each one has been made by a lady in her home, and then she will bring it to us, and we will quilt it and then present it.
Every quilt gets a label. It just says that we're Quilts of Valor and we appreciate your service.
This coming July, we will celebrate our 15th anniversary, and to date, we have presented over 3,000 quilts.
There's some in wheelchairs without legs. When we present them a quilt, and these are younger men, and they come back and hug us and thank us. I presented one to a man in Troy from that he'd served in Nam, and he held me so tight and just cried and cried. He said first time he'd ever received any type of appreciation for his service in Nam.
All you have to do is give out one quilt, and it's worth all the work.
I tell you what, once you get one of these, you just want to make more.
I've never served. My family's never served. But we appreciate it, and it's just a way to show appreciation.
Oh, those ladies are so much fun, and they love what they're doing. And get this, to date, they've given out more than 3,000 quilts to veterans to remember their service and honor their sacrifice. Remembrance, it's a theme through all the stories we've shared with you today. Look at Teresa with 10 by 3. She remembers her struggles growing up, and she wants to move to the needs of those around the world who are in a similar situation. Baskets of Hope. Angela is uniquely equipped to minister to those who are walking with a child through a serious illness because she's been there. She's walked that walk, and she wants to serve those the way she was served by others when she was in a similar situation. Cardinals Reminiscence League. Keeping those memories alive by telling the stories, telling them over and over again. And Quilts of Valor. What a great way to show your appreciation for our veterans, for their sacrifice and their service. You know, there's another one that sacrificed all for us. It's Jesus. How's our memory of him? Do we remember that he laid down his life for us so that we could be reconnected with the Father? So that we could have a peace and a comfort and a hope through whatever the world throws at us. You know, a friend of mine in Texas sent me a devotional last week. It was pretty powerful, and by a man named Kevin Webster, and it shared about the situation that we're in, and that we're called to remember Jesus and remember God in the midst of it. And it said that if all you hung your hope on was sports and athletics, youth sports, pro sports, whatever, the stadiums are silent. If it's Hollywood where you get your affirmation, the theaters have gone quiet. If it's the music world where you draw your attention to, the civic centers and concerts are quiet. If it's money, if money's your anchor, look what's happened to the stock market. All these other false anchors, they're failing, they're fleeting. But God is steadfast, and he wants our attention on him. All these other things that have had our attention, they won't last, but God will, and so will his love for you. He's got us in and through this thing. He remembers us. And when we turn to him, he forgets our sin. Hebrews 10:17 says, I remember their sins and their lawless deeds no more. And in Micah 7, it says, I cast their transgressions into the sea. They're forgotten, but you're remembered. We're approaching Easter, just a week away. And we're reminded of Jesus on the cross and the two thieves that were crucified with him. And one of them turns to him and says what? He says, remember me. And Jesus says, I tell you today, you'll be with me in paradise. That's for us too. That promise is for you and for me. When we remember Christ and turn our lives to Him and recognize that we don't have it in ourselves, but He's got everything we need, and we cast all our troubles at His feet and at the foot of the cross, we can come home. And that message is for you and me. You remember Him? When you do, He remembers you. Well, that brings us to the end, but not the end. You know what I'm talking about.
If you come and you aren't a quilter and you want to learn how, we will teach you.
See, running stitches are like this.
So I got to come back out. I done messed it up.
This hand has to be under.
Okay.
Push it up.
Okay, I'm trying.
You can do it.
You say that. I told you.
I think
I think I can.
I think I can.
I don't think I can. Maybe I need like 10 thimbles.
No, no.
I just took the thread out again. Y'all seem so calm when you do it. I'm stressed out.
Where's your needle?
In my finger?
Oh.
All right.
I think I can.
I think I can. I think I thought I could.
See, you're doing it. Don't you pull it out.
I lost my thread. Thread up, y'all.
Spot Content Studio.